Hello, can you hear me now? Gosh, I'm just talking. I'm like, can you guys hear me? Can't hear me. All right. Yep, it was turned off. What I was saying was, I'm using radial symmetry. Thanks, Stephen. Let's try that one more time. There we go. How's that for a pumpkin right away, huh? Okay. All right, that works. And I think I'm going to just smooth this out just a little bit. Yeah, Greg's a fantastic guy. Highly, highly skilled. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. I'm just using my pinch brush to pinch these seams down a little bit. And then I'll just kind of loosen them up. So how's everybody doing today on this wonderful Hallows Eve? I'm going to use smooth stronger and really smooth these out. I wonder why there's like a little pinch in here. That's weird. Oh, because there's a pole. That's why. Okay. Let's save this again. Just to make sure. That's good. Okay. Hey Lisa, how are you? Lisa, I think you might be the only one doing the sculpt along thing in the school. Which is fine. But I was hoping more people would do it. Okay, I'm going to turn off I was going to turn off this radial symmetry. Go back to X symmetry. Hello, how are you guys? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. All right. I got to think about how I want to do the thickness in here. I think I might mask the whole thing and then extract it. Oh goodness. Yeah, I bet everything's just completely knocked out. Yeah. Oh my gosh. 31st of October here in India. Just want to say happy Halloween. Oh, hello. Thank you very much. Yeah, today is not, it's not Halloween here yet for another 12 hours. Hold on. There should be audio now. Yeah, Neil. No worries. Okay, so let's get this going. I'm gonna block in the arms and feet, and then we'll figure out the head here in a minute. So I'm gonna grab this. Whoops. All of a sudden it's ripe or not ripe. All the power in cell service is down. I bet it just knocked out everything. Come on. There we go. Okay. Trying to think of how I want to do this. I think I'm just going to insert some spheres. Oh, I got to collapse my subdivision levels. There we go. Okay, and then we will split to unmask points, arrow down. Hey Zofo, how are you? It's been a while. Welcome, welcome. Let's turn on local symmetry, turn off dynamic. There we go. Of the hill people. And I haven't heard that forever. Okay, I'm going to subdivide this once. Delete lower, and then just grab the move brush and just kind of make it come out from underneath here. Let's do a solo. That's pretty fast. Okay, I'm going to do this clip curve brush to flatten out the end here. There we go. Oh, that's kind of weird shaped. Let's do it from this direction. There we go. Then we can kind of pull out the toes a little bit. Yeah, is there even Halloween in India, or is there an equivalent holiday? Okay, I'm going to turn on AccuCurve so I can make these toes pointy. You know what? I think I'm going to turn on Move Infinite with AccuCurve so I can shoot through the whole thing. Let's undo that a little bit and then try it again. That way it'll shoot further down the thing. There we go. And we'll pull these toes up. Okay, and then I'll probably need to Z-remesh this. Let's see what it gives me. Dynamic is not turned on at the moment. Okay, let's just Z-remesh by default here. Oh, goodness sakes. Gave me garbage is what it gave me. I'm going to subdivide it a couple times first, and then we'll Z-remesh this. That should give us a better result. Gosh, what is it doing? I don't know why it's... Oh, look at that side. It's like it didn't mirror properly because I was using Move Infinite. So let's mirror this. Mirror. And then mirror and weld. There we go. That's better. There we go. All right. Now let's try Z-remeshing. Ah, there we go. Okay. Now we can do H-polish. And kind of just flatten out these little lumpies here. That's feeling pretty good. Turn on regular move, turn off AccuCurve. How are you guys doing today? What are you working on? Anything good? Okay, I'm just going to kind of curve this toe and then curve it forward. Hey, Sparky, how are you? Right? Yeah, I saw this and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to sculpt that. I might make this drool yellow or orange. I'm plucking out SpongeBob today. Nice. Squidward. Squidward. Gotta love some SpongeBob. Just the new painting tools. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. There we go. Pointy toes. Okay, so I'm going to turn on dynamic subdivisions. And then we can unhide the body and see how we did. Maybe we need to drag them out just a little bit. Maybe scale them out like that. I want to make room for his face though. So I think I'm going to pull him out further, like wider. Randomly woke up in the middle of the night and now here I am. That's right. What time is it in Australia? Middle of the night. Like 3 or 4? Goodness. That smile is going to go behind his legs. Like, I got to kind of make room for it. Hmm. 3:20 in the morning. That is early. Okay, I'm going to duplicate these legs and turn them into arms. Let's see if we can do that. I am going to put them in a different subtool though. Split unmasked points. Let's go. Let's fill these and these with green. I like how he's just kind of leaning back on his hands. They're pretty funny. Oh, stop switching. So let's kind of guess where his shoulders would be. Maybe. Let's look at it from the front in perspective. We'll turn perspective down a little bit. Well, first I draw this head. Oh yeah, I read some more features. Do a perfect circle. Yeah, that's my favorite episode. What is, I'm trying to remember what it's called, like Art Critic or something. It's so funny. What the Mike May is going on? Hey, how are you, buddy? Holy crap. Blast from the past. I haven't seen you streaming for a long time. You should get back in here. Artist unknown, that's right. Been forever since I even visited Twitch. Well, welcome back for a minute. Yeah, we got to catch up, man. Congrats on getting married. I saw that. All right, I'm gonna give this guy 4 fingers. Mike is a, I don't want to say old friend of mine, but he's an old friend of mine. Accurate. Hey Katri, how are you? Okay, I'm just kind of roughing out where these are gonna go. Texted yours for the first time, many moons. Oh, no way. Nice. I know it kind of sounds creepy, but I think I follow his wife on Instagram. Not creepily, just happened to. And it's fun seeing his boys grow up. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna make his... Okay, I need to make him kind of leaning forward. Let's reset this gizmo. I'm gonna lean him like this. That way I can kind of crunch the bottom of his body kind of up like it's, you know, one of those pumpkins that have been sitting on the ground for a minute. And I kind of like the fact that you'd see this back here. That's fun, right? Yeah, I think Jers is still at Avalanche, if I recall. I only see a few of those guys. I don't think you remember Ben and Nason. I went to lunch with those guys the other day. That was fun. Kind of want to get his arm kind of stuck in this this pocket right here, so it sort of makes sense, like this. Yeah, so it kind of goes into that crease. I love it. It's like a cat walking away from you. Oh, too funny. This may be one that I'm gonna have to 3D print. Don't even know his boys' names. Yeah, right. Disappeared from the old crew. I texted Alan the other day, and I don't think he knows it's me. I'll bug him about it. So Alan is crazy busy these days. Like, for example, I'm supposed to play D&D with him tonight, and he's not going to be able to show up because he's busy. Buzz him again. Soon to clarify. Super proud of where everyone currently is these days. Yeah, he's like lead designer of Hogwarts Legacy, so you know. He's come a ways. You have to create a version with a removable lid. Oh, yeah. Or even, you know what would be fun? Is, you know those little tea lights? It'd be fun to, like, measure one of those and make it so you could stick one down in there. Yeah, dude, I agree. He's awesome. Alan's the best. Okay, I'm going to pull this. So the reason I pulled this down is because I use this little white line that you can, this border, as kind of a flat ruler. And then I kind of rest my character down on it to kind of see where that is. And then I can use this clip curve brush to just kind of run a line and just clip it flat so he actually has a place to sit, you know, on the ground. See how it just flattened out those legs like that? And I can do the same thing with the body. I just want the front to be flatter. So I'm going to pull that down again to the line. And then with this pumpkin selected, I can just kind of pull it down below that surface and then clip it off flat as well. There we go. I'm going to bring these legs a little flatter. There we go. That's too high. Here, I'll just use this move brush so I can just dial it in. There we go. Probably hard to see for you guys, but... And then you can see that, see the hands if I lay it down on the line like this from this side. Oh, you know what? You can't... I was going to swear. I messed it up I had perspective turned on. So now you have to have perspective turned off to do that. So I got to do it again. Sorry. You got to have perspective off. Okay, so let's do this from the side. Because I want to pull these arms down. So if I just kind of set the pumpkin like this, then his hands will go like down here. You can see how much lower they are, maybe back, so they fit in that little crevice there. And then I'll use the move brush to kind of move these fingers around, so when I clip it off flat, it's going to make sense. So that one below the surface, this one slightly above. So Matt, or Merkel, where are you at these days? Like, are you in Texas or something? Are you still with, yeah, remind me where you're at. And do you ever come back to good old Utah to visit your fam? Because it would be really cool to catch up. Hey, Animation Pook, how are you? Okay, so we're going to cut that leg off. See, it's nice and flat now. Grab the pumpkin, cut it off. There we go. Thanks. Animation Pook, are you Justin? Sorry if I don't mean to call you out. But you're saying you caught the stream the other day. Okay, so there we go. We got a nice flat area. So when he sits on a desk or something, he's going to be nice and flat. Okay, but I need to, I want to get the fingers looking like these fingers. And then we'll break symmetry and just kind of get this all worked out. I'm probably going to use live Booleans extensively to get that going. Yeah, man. Okay, cool. It takes like 20 seconds for conversation to reach me or back and forth. It's like 20-second delay. Like I'm on the moon. I think if I was on the moon, it'd be faster. Sorry, I'm kind of also eating lunch a little bit. Okay. I'll probably end up slicing this hand, the bottom of it again, or clip curving it. I wish this was called the squish brush, because that's really what it does. It just takes the geometry and squishes it. It doesn't clip anything. Hey, Signor, how are you? It's been a while. Good to see you. Is that how you say your name? Sorry if I'm messing it up. Me and my US accent. Okay. We're gonna do Sculptress Pro. Hopefully we don't crash. Let's save it. I'm looking for this bug that's very hard to find. It's very hard to get to repeat. And the bug specifically happens when I'm smoothing with Sculptress Pro. So I want to see if it happens today. But when I do, I got to save it often. Okay. So we're going to go to Stroke and Sculptress Pro, turn off Adaptive. There we go. And what that does is that locks the division size, like the triangle size that Dynamic Subdivisions creates. So see these triangles? It locks the size of these to the scene rather than to the brush. Okay. Oh, thanks, Neil. Yeah. Dynamic needs to be off. Neil's always watching out for me. He's like the little cronk on my shoulder. No problem. My name, it's not easy to spell for non-Italian. Oh, Italian. Okay. All good, thanks. Hope it's the same for you. Missed your streams a lot. Well, I'm streaming here every Thursday at noon Pacific. So you can catch me here again. And then I'm going to be streaming on my YouTube channel. I'm going to try and stream, like I want to stream each day. So my channel is 3D Character Workshop. If you look that up on YouTube and you give me a follow over there, subscribe or whatever, it'll notify you when I go live, or it should. So, and I'm going to be doing other programs as well as ZBrush. So Shane has very good tutorials. Thank you very much, Markerton. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Okay, so you can see that the triangles are way too big, right? Instead of those triangle size, the triangle size being tied to the brush, it's now tied to the scene by turning adaptive off. And then you, if you have my user interface, which you can grab on over at 3dcharacterworkshop.com, you can grab it there. Or I have a new thing going. It's called School, SKOOL.com/sculpt, SKULPT. The link is just down in the description. So it's called Sculpt School, and it's just a community, a place to gather and share your sculpts and get some feedback and stuff like that. So, and I have a new course in there, and I talk about how to prep your models for 3D printing and stuff. So that's super cool. Okay. All right. So let's turn down this the subdivide size, and then we'll test it out again. That's closer to what I want as far as the density goes. So now I can just hold down Shift and just kind of flood fill this area with that more dense geometry. And then I'm going to use this inflate, and then we're going to inflate these to be shaped more like these fingers here. So I'm just going to kind of build them up. And then I'll use the move brush to pull them out some more. Yes, we have a sculpting hangout as part of Sculpt School, which is just, it's like a lab that you would find in like a college or something like that, where you just kind of go hang out with other people and sculpt along. And if you have questions, you can ask people in there, you know. That's a big part of it. So if you want to join us, it's very, very affordable, in my opinion. I tried to make it be affordable as I could, but still being worth it, you know? So if you want to check it out, or if you have any questions, let me know. The Hangout is actually on a private Discord because it allows you to share multiple screens at the same time, which is really nice. Okay. And it's very casual, low-key, no pressure. There's beginners as well as professionals in there hanging out. Mike, do you still sculpt much? Or where do you post most of your stuff these days? I like these four fingers. I kind of want to make them look like leaves, you know, like vines, like leafy vine fingers. I want to give him a little, like a little back of his hand too, where his hand is kind of hitting the surface and giving a little bit of pressure right here, like a pad, pressure pad. And in animation, you kind of, the straighter the line, the more it indicates that there's pressure. You don't want it to be bent. There we go. It's feeling pretty good. All right, so I'm going to save this again. So far, so good. And I want to pull, let's work on the head a little bit. Even though he's leaning forward like this, I do want to pull the front up a bit, just so I can give myself more real estate for the face. Those eyes are quite large. Okay. Something like that. It's feeling pretty good. Okay, let's give him the little swirly gig stem up top. And you'd think I'm just going to use something fancy, but nope. I'm just going to use my insert mesh brush and use my appendage. And then let's just get right in the middle here. Give him a little hat. And I'm going to split it on mask points to a new subtool. So it's all by itself. And then I'm going to, let's flatten the bottom where I still have symmetry turned on. So let's use move and just kind of flatten this up and start to shape it. But I'm going to turn off symmetry pretty dang quick because it's anything but symmetrical. Just kind of bury it in here a little bit. And then really give it a good, oops, hold on a second. I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to turn off Sculptress for just a minute. Okay, and then I'm going to turn off symmetry. And I'm going to try something that I haven't tried in a while that Paul Gabry told me about. It's like a swirl brush. Spiral. There we go. Spiral. We're going to try this. So I'm going to put it right here. Okay, let's turn down the power. And I'm going to mask the bottom off. Can you talk about when you decide to make things a separate subtool? Sure. So typically a good guide for that is if it's made out of a different material, I will separate it. So especially when it comes to eyes, if it's an eye, I'll separate it out. Like in this example, his legs are made of like whatever stems are made of, you know, stem material or vine material. And then his hands are also vines. I could combine his feet and his arms together in one, as well as the stem as what, you know, that really doesn't matter, but it depends on if I want to work on them together, like if I want to move things together or if I want to move things separate. But there is a way that you can keep everything combined into one subtool, but still move it separately. And that is with this little topological button down here. This is a masking. So you mask by topology, which makes it so you can move stuff around separately. And I thought about doing that because the history inside of ZBrush is stuck to a particular subtool. So each subtool has its own history line. And if you split it off into new subtools, each of those subtools gets their own history. So if you wanted to do a video and do playback of history, like a time lapse or something, you kind of have to play back each subtool in order, in whatever order you want. So, but if everything is in the same subtool and you never split it away, then you can play through your entire sequence, if that makes sense. So I've been experimenting with that recently. Okay. So what I was going to do is I'm going to do mask lasso and mask the bottom of this off and then invert that and just kind of soften it. And then we can twist this and then move it. And then just kind of, I'm going to inflate this. And it really kind of messed up the geometry here, but it gave me the twist that I wanted, which is cool. So I'm going to clear that mask and subdivide it once, and then apply that subdivision, just kind of smooth it. I got my smooth a little too hot. Turn that down. Just kind of I'm going to use alternate smooth, which is you hold down smooth and then let go, and then it will relax instead of it'll just kind of move the polygons across the surface instead of shrink them. And I want to kind of give it a cool look from this direction as well. And I'll just crank this around just by hand with the move brush instead of the swirl brush. Okay, so now I could probably do dynamic subdivisions, or sorry, Sculptris Pro, and just kind of smooth this all out. And now I can crank the smoothing power up pretty high, so I can just get a nice smooth on this whole thing. There we go. That's looking nice. And then we can do snake hook with AccuCurve. Just kind of pull this up into a little point. There we go. That's working beautimous. ZBrush Princess, I love your name. Awesome. It reminds me of, I've been listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl lately. You guys have heard of that. It's a book that's on Audible. And the guy who does all the voices for it is just fantastic. And the writing of the book is also really, really good. And it's a nice thing to listen to while you're working or sculpting or something like that. It's a new genre that I've never really heard of, called lit RPG, which is basically they're telling the story as if you're playing like an RPG board game or video game or something like that. You know, they talk a lot about like the points and everything that he's earning and the gear he's getting and all that kind of stuff. And it makes for a really interesting kind of a genre, I guess. And he's got a pet cat, and the pet cat's name is Princess Donut. So when I saw Princess, I'm like, oh, it's like Princess Donut. Love it, love it, love it. We're having a Halloween fun sculpt event on Halloween with a handful of us sculptors, us live sculptors. There's going to be, I'm not exactly sure all the sculptors that are going to be participating, but it's going to be, let me pull up my calendar. Because I get confused between Mountain Time and Pacific Time. I'm in Mountain Time. It starts at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. That's when the Halloween stream is. So it's going to be myself and a handful of other sculptors. I know Ian Robinson from Maxon's going to be there. Yeah, and a handful of other streamers from here. So should be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. That concept art is ace. Going to be a cool sculpt. Thanks. Yeah, I love it. So Greg is from and with his buddy Dave, and they also, yeah, they ran Creature Box. So if you look up Creature Box, you'll see a whole bunch of Greg and Dave's art. And now Greg runs a new one called LostBear Studios. I think it's on Instagram or something like that. But yeah, just some of the most fantastic art, especially for creature stuff, that I've ever seen. It's just really, really fun and whimsical, and he's got a very unique style that's, you can tell from a mile away that it's their style, you know. So awesome. Greg Baldwin, there, thanks. That's his last name. What's Dave's last name, Neil? Do you remember? I'm trying to remember. I did a contest back in the day and had my students like sculpt some of the stuff from Creature Box, and some of the feedback they gave was just phenomenal. Yeah, so Greg Baldwin from LostBear Studios made the art. And that's why I was saying he also has art from Creature Box. I have some books of theirs that are really, really great. Some art books. I met both of them first at CTN a while back. Okay, I think I made the stem a little too large, so let's scale it on down. There we go. Yeah, I was just looking at some of the we've done contests to have my students sculpt creature box stuff several times, and it's always a joy to sculpt that stuff. I'm happy to see that Greg's still at it with LostBear Studios. Okay, so I'm going to save this again. Dave Guertin. Oh, thanks, Neil. Awesome. Saving. Okay, it'll be fun to add these different colors and swirls and all that stuff going on. But for now, I'm just going to leave it at this point. I think I can make his feet larger. Like just bigger overall like this. Yeah, that feels better. Okay, so how do we make a pumpkin hollow? What I'm gonna do, and this will be kind of interesting because it's gonna happen in several parts. First, I need to like carve out the middle, right? So let's open our subtool list, and I'm going to duplicate this body, the pumpkin body. And then I'm going to put both of these in a folder. So Control F is folder, and I'm going to call it Boolean. And then I'm going to put both of these inside. And I'm going to make this interior pumpkin this interior color. Okay. So in order to grab this color, you have to have this ring showing. And you make this ring show by hitting Z on your keyboard, Z. And then hit C as in cat to select this color. And then hit fill object, and it will fill it. And that's the color the interior of the mouth's going to be. I'm going to hide that ring again. And now I'm going to turn off symmetry for a second and center my gizmo in the middle. So then I can scale it down from there and then create this cutout hollowed thing. But we're not going to see that it's been cut out until we start cutting out like his eyes and his mouth and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to reorient this. Okay, now I want to turn it a little bit like his body is, and then scale it in. And what we can do is we can turn on transparent so we can actually see the thickness. So as I scale it down, we can make it about, the pumpkin wall about like that thick. Okay, and then we turn this to subtract right here. And then the order of subtool list matters. Okay, so the actual body needs to be above the thing that you're subtracting. Okay, and then we'll turn on live Boolean, and you can't see anything happen because it's inside there, but it's being cut out. Okay, and then we're going to add these eyes. So let's insert a cylinder, but I want to insert it being yellow. It takes on whatever color that you're inserting it. And this is so much fun to me. I love doing this stuff. So if you do this cylinder, and then let's turn off Sculptress Pro for now, and then just click and drag. We'll put it like this, and then we want to split unmask points, and then arrow down. And here we have our cylinders, and What we need to do is turn these to subtract as well, and they'll kind of go ghosted like this. So I have wireframe turned on, which is Shift F, so that turns it on and off. And you can see it's already starting to cut into the surface. But these are low poly. These are cylinders that I made a long time ago, which you can get if I give them away for free. And you can get them one of two places, either at 3dcharacterworkshop.com, that's my original website, and I also have them in my Sculpt school over at skool.com/sculpt, SKULPT. They're just weirdly named. So the link's down in the description if you want to go there and grab them. Okay. And what you can do is turn on dynamics subdivisions. So if I turn on dynamic subdivisions, it will work. So now you can see it's cleaner. And we can turn up the subdivisions. So right now it's set to 2. We can crank it to 3 or 4, and it'll become even cleaner, even smoother. And now when I go to push this into the surface, I'm going to kind of turn it like this. I can push it into the surface, and then it makes our eyes. See that? We have eye holes. And now you can also see that it's cutting out, or you can see the arms and the legs on the inside there. So what we can do there is we can actually put our legs above the cut pieces and the arms above the cut pieces, and it will use this same pumpkin body to cut those as well. So now you just see the interior of the pumpkin in there, and now you also see the edge that's yellow. And this is where it gets super fun with live Booleans, because it's live, right? You can move it while it's live. So what that means, you have to have it showing. If it's hidden, you won't see it. But if I turn the wireframe back on, we can see it where it's at. Here, I'll turn it off just so you can see it live. We can move these eyes up and down, and we can make them larger, so we can scale them up. And they're really close together like this. Okay, and we can rotate the cylinders so they cut into the face a little bit better, like straighter, you know. And you can also see part of this stem is kind of hanging out there. We can fix that with sculpting, but we just kind of want to get them lined up. And I don't want them perfectly round, so I'm going to skew them like this and just kind of just scale them up and learn how to make eye holes. Yep. It's super fun. Okay, so now that that's cut in like that, you can see that these eyes are asymmetrical, right? So we can turn off symmetry, and we have them both here like this. And we can just like, I want to grab this one. Let's do auto groups. So each one of them are in separate groups. We can mask this one off. I just held down Control and clicked on the surface of this other one. And I can move the gizmo. Let's see. We can snap it to the, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on a second. Sometimes when you Control Z in a subtool, it will bring back the objects you split off. So we're going to go forward in time where those are gone. That's not what I wanted. I accidentally selected the pumpkin body. That's not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to solo these. And what I was trying to do is Alt select this right here. And what that does, it'll snap the gizmo to the surface normal of the object. Then I can kind of align it. And I can kind of push it down into the surface here. So we can, I just want to scale this one up a bit, just to give it even more life and more asymmetry. I'm going to move it over here to scale it from this direction. I just want to kind of get it as big as I can, kind of close to this foot, but I still want to make enough room for that mouth to creep through here. There's some really tight things happening. So let's just move this up here like this. And you can see he's kind of has this eyebrow going up and around right there. And on mine, the stem is really close to the body. So what we can do is now pick the pumpkin. And again, this is live Boolean. we can move the stem into this folder as well, and it will get cut out. So sometimes if you move stuff around, you won't see it happen, and you might wonder, like, why isn't it working? Just give it a rotate, a camera orbit, to make sure that it actually is working. Okay, so now what I can do is grab this pumpkin. I'm going to turn off symmetry, and then I can go to my standard brush, or like this cloth brush or something like that, or even inflate, and then just come above this eye and just kind of inflate it right along here. And since it's live Boolean, you'll see this eyebrow just kind of grow here above, and it will work with the live Boolean because it's live, right? It works together. It's kind of a miracle, magical thing, to be honest. That's what it feels like. Miracle magical. Okay, so now get an even bigger inflate brush. I just want to kind of inflate this into the eyebrow like this. That's super fun. Okay, and then we can inflate this little nubbin right above this eye. And we can grab our detail brush and just kind of run it like that to kind of cut that nubbin there. That's the official term, nubbin. All right, I got to take a little drink for a minute. How are we looking on time? We got about an hour in so far. I got about an hour left. Not too bad. Okay. With this mouth, oh man, it's going to be so much easier with the new ZBrush that's coming. They've already announced some of the features that's coming, so but I can't talk about them too much. So just watch. It's going to be awesome. All right. So let's save this. Okay, so how do we add these little eye circles? Okay. We're going to do new cylinders. So I'm going to grab this insert multi-mesh brush, new cylinder, and then, okay, I'm trying to think about this. There's two ways we can do it. Let me just drag. So I can basically cut from a cut, right? So with this eye, I can Boolean from that eye. Hey, thanks, Mickey. I appreciate it. So basically I would be Booleaning something out of a Boolean to create this. Or I could just put this piece in there. And then, here, let's go down to it. Where is it at? Oh, I gotta split it off here. Okay. Split unmasked points. Okay, so I must have hid something. There we go. I can color this orange, I think. I'm just going to try this. I don't know if it will work the way I'm thinking. Yeah, okay. So it needs to be below the cut, right there. So as long as it's below the cut, it won't get cut. Let's add, but it's not going to give me that yellow edge either. And then I would have to, I'd have to make it the same thickness by hand like this. I'd have to kind of go like that. And the interior is getting cut out, so that's cutting it. So I might have to manually color the border. And this border on the inside is not attached, so I would have to attach that later. So it would probably be better to cut a cylinder out of the cylinder, if that makes sense. But I don't think I can do it the way I'm thinking. I'd have to do it in 2 steps. I can't have them both live and working at the same time, if that makes sense. But I want to try, I'm going to do a duplicate and leave that one there and hide this one. Just ignore, not sure though, that if you press the arrow down in the subtool palette, it won't cut it anymore. Yeah, that's the old way. Hey, what's up, Renal? How are you? Yeah, so you, what he's talking about is this little arrow right here. And basically this little arrow says, start here and don't cut anything out below it. So that's how you used to organize things in a list of Booleans. You can still use it, it's still there, but now it works more in an order and in the using the folders to organize. So it's kind of a combination, but basically anything above the object will get cut on the way. So let me just try this out. I'm going to cut from, oh, but now I see why it won't work well. Yeah. So because this is cutting, like it stopped the interior from cutting the body, right? I'd have to like figure that out. It's kind of a mind game. But I'm going to select this yellow and fill this object, and then I want to subtract this from this. So I think what I'm going to have to do is pull it out of the folder and pull this out of the folder, and then make a new folder and call this iBool or something. It's just temporary, so it doesn't really matter. And then stick this in there. Yeah, it's a puzzle mini game for sure. Okay, so this should be cutting out. I'm trying to think of why. I'm going to hide this folder for a minute just so we can see the two of these things. Should be this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. See how this is now subtracting from this piece? Now we can like line it up here and slice it right out of there like that. And then we can duplicate it over to the other side for the other eye. And put this up here like this. But I want to align it so it's better. So how's it going, Renault? I still need to talk to you about my new school thing. You wanted to catch up. I kind of wish I could now use this entire thing in an order where it would work. I don't know if I can. Because yeah, see, I think I have to go like this. I have to go Boolean with Boolean with dynamic subdivisions, and it makes this new object right here. And then I put that object back up into here, turn it to subtract, turn this on. There you go. I'm mid at drawing, so that will that affect or not if I'll learn ZBrush? I mean, art is art. So your knowledge will cross. So like if you have anatomy knowledge, like if you know anatomy, you can use that knowledge in both drawing and sculpting. And all of the, well, most of the rules apply to both, like perspective and measuring things and, you know, all of that stuff. And essentially when you're drawing, you're learning how, you know, 3 dimensions work. But it's not necessary. Like I can't really draw very well myself, but because sculpting is my thing and I just really never focused down on it. So, but I know the skills translate and transfer. You don't have to draw in order to sculpt. I'm living proof of that. Pull these out just a little bit more. Make some more room. But yeah, so see now these eyeballs are connected, and looks like they're carved from the same piece of pumpkin, and I get the yellow. But it looks like this is sticking in through the eyeball. I'll have to go cut that out. And the shapes, see the shapes going in are not going in the direction that I want it to. So I'm going to go make an adjustment, and this is where it's not live, I guess, anymore. So I'm going to go delete this one. Goodbye. And then turn this back on. And I can kind of get a sense of what it will look like here. So I'm going to grab these guys. And then rotate them a little bit so they're not doing good, man. Don't worry about the school stuff. We can catch up whenever you have time. Yeah, I'd love to talk to you about it, though. It'd be awesome. It's been a while. Okay. So when it's in that hidden state, you can't really snap it to the surface very well. But I think what I want to do is turn it like right at the pumpkin edge, like right, it's hard to see, but I want to aim it like more this direction. So it's being cut straighter into the pumpkin like this. Yeah, I think that'll work. And then we'll invert. Let's solo this again so I can snap the gizmo to the surface. And then we'll bury the gizmo back down in there, and then rotate it as well. So they're both kind of being cut straight down into the pumpkin instead of on an angle. And I could probably do that with the bigger cylinders as well, but I think they're looking good as they are, so I'm not too concerned about it. Might rotate it like this and raise it. I can kind of see where they're going to be. That's giving me an idea. So let's go ahead and do this Boolean with subdiv. Move this up here. And then subtract it out. Uh-oh. Am I still streaming? Weird. Did it die or is it still going? My chat died. Oh, it's reconnected now. Okay, sweet. Whew. Okay. All of a sudden my chat just died. I was like, what happened? Okay. All right, I'm still here. Still going. Okay. Sweet, sweet. Don't go away. Don't leave me. Okay, I want to smooth this out, but not. Whoops. All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Because I'm streaming through Restream, and I think Restream dropped it for a minute. At least dropped my chat. Okay, so this is going to be quite the challenge. I'm going to draw. Let's hide the feet. And I'm going to draw the he looks funny without feet, right? Let's save it. Okay. And now I'm going to draw this mouth all the way over and then extrude it out, and then that should cut it into the surface, and then I'll go back and sculpt like the big cheeks and stuff on it. So this might take a minute to do, but it'll be good times, right? Okay. Yeah, it's going to be much easier moving forward. I'm going to turn live Boolean off for a second. just for speed. Sometimes live Boolean will slow things down somewhat because it takes a lot of processing. Then we're going to grab this topology brush and make my brush really small. And then, because another thing I could do is I could mask it out and then like cut that mask out of the surface. That's the old way of doing it before live Booleans. But I'm going to turn on masking or symmetry, and then I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see. Mask pen. Yeah, it's not going to work with symmetry. I'm going to have to do the whole thing asymmetrically, which is fine. But this is just going to give me a guide and help me figure out where my topology needs to go. Because it's much easier to draw with a mask. Let's kind of plan out the middle here. And you can also like cut the mask like by holding Control plus Alt. Let's see, how many teeth are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side. I did 5. Let me plan this out just a little bit better. Okay. So let's do 1 here. And then down at the bottom is 2. I want to make sure I get them low. They don't have to be perfect and sharp because I'm just going to draw over top of these. I just want to make sure they're kind of lined up the way I need them to be and spaced the way I need them to be. This one goes up. And they kind of have this cool shape to them. They're not perfect triangles. They're kind of sawtooth a little bit. So they kind of go like, this. How many years does it take you to be at this level? It doesn't take as long as I've been doing it. I can say that for sure. Because there are some of my students that I've watched go from not great to really great in just a couple of years. But I've been doing it for 25 years. But I don't think it's not going to take you that long, especially with the training available nowadays. I was going to say, like back in my day, we didn't have all the videos and professionals teaching what they know. I mean, 3D sculpting wasn't really a thing back then either. I used to sculpt everything with polygons. I kind of miss those days, to be honest. I mean, I love digital sculpting, don't get me wrong, but there's something about pushing and pulling points around that's just kind of, it's very technical and artistic at the same time, where this is kind of artistic and then the technical comes later. I want to open his mouth just a little bit more. I like the wider teeth. Yeah, something like that. Do I remember when ZBrush was basically a 2.5D canvas? Yeah, yep. You started around version 3. Yeah, I started around version 2, like late version 2. But I would just dabble with it because you really couldn't use it in production back then. It was more of a monster maker is what I used to call it. It was very fun to dabble in and make lumpy monsters, but like to do stylized characters was unthinkable in there back then. My course, my first 3D Character Workshop course I did in 4R5, I think, like version 4, release 5. And I had been using it for like 5 years by then. Okay, so we have that. Let's save it. But yeah, 2.5D. That's what it started out as, you know. The developer, he's an artist, and he had an idea to develop an art program with 3D elements. And so he just wanted to basically have a Photoshop-like application, but having the ability to insert like spheres and different shapes. But the way he drew his shapes allowed for millions and millions of polys. I almost think accidentally. I don't want to say that for sure, but I feel like it, just the direction he was headed, he just kind of accidentally made it do that. Okay, enough with the mask. Let's go topology. And I'm just going to start from here. Now with this topology brush, it's very, very tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty good. You can lower your brush size, make it pretty dang small, because then you'll get more opportunities for tick marks, is what I like to call them. So when you draw a line, it makes these little black and orange, appropriately colored for Halloween tick marks. And then when you cross like this, it makes these little green dots. And everywhere you have little green dots, when you make 4 of them, it's going to make a face. And sometimes when you make 3 of them, it'll make a triangle, right? And you can't really see the face in there because the pumpkin is orange. I might temporarily change the color to something else, but I think as I draw over the mask, you'll be able to see it. But if you have too big of a brush, it's going to give you less opportunities in between these dashed lines to cross those lines. So if I draw through the middle of this black line and through the middle of this orange line like this, and then let go, watch, it's going to snap. See that? Boonk. And then it makes your green dot up here and over here, and because it makes the green dots where the ticks are, not where the dashes are. So like I said, if you have a small brush, you're just giving yourself more opportunity for those ticks to happen. And the lines in between the dots, I always love doing this. So if I have 2 and I have this like this, see, it made these 2 dots. This line and these lines don't matter. The only part that matters is where the lines cross. So like I could be super squiggly, go in here and be squiggly and go right there, and it's going to give me a nice square. See, the lines don't matter. That's why it sometimes gives those jagged lines. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Okay, with that knowledge, also one more thing is don't stop on, like, don't go like this and then go from this circle down to this circle like this, because it's going to ruin your day. Don't do that. The best thing to do is go past it, almost like an airbrush. You're starting over here and going across and going across. You want to make it like a tic-tac-toe board. You don't want to start and stop on the little dots. Okay, again, that'll give it more opportunity to cross the lines. Okay, cross the streams. Here we go. So I'm going to go like this and like this. Now I don't want to drag this all the way down into here because I don't want to make another face right there. And so I'm going to go like this. But this one right here, I can start over here and go all the way like that, and start here and go all the way like that, and then go across like this and like this. See, it's going to make a square, but see this one, I guess I do have to bring it all the way across because otherwise it's an n-gon. And then I can just see it's making face, 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 face like this. I try to keep them as square as I can. This one I could probably drag all the way through like this, and this one all the way through, this one all the way through. Now you can pick up a line. So see how it stopped right here? I can pick it up with that circle and take it through like this. Let's see, like that. And let's drag it through here. What do you think about texturing in Substance Painter? Is it the best way to manage models after ZBrush sculpts? I mean, before final render? If it depends. If you're wanting to take it to animation, animation, or for video games, it's the best. It's industry standard, and I guess I heard that if you look at Ian Robinson's video, he just barely said they added a 1-button push to push your ZBrush model over to Substance. Now you will want to have UVs. UVs basically describe the surface for texturing. So you will want to have that before you don't want to push a several million poly model over to Substance, because it's not optimal. You need to optimize it. Okay, this one this one's kind of tricky because it doesn't really line up nicely like those other ones did. So I think I might go like this. And that would cut, I'm not sure. I think I might ignore my mask right here and just make it work like this. Yeah, that's fine. Just more optimal that way. There we go. Okay, so now when you have that whole thing drawn out like this, see it has all those tails everywhere. It doesn't matter, but if you want to, you can clean them all up by holding down Alt and just dragging somewhere on the surface and letting go, and it will get rid of all those. I never do, but you can. And then this section, what you want to do is you want to change your draw size down to 1. Because then when you click on the surface, it's going to give you a single-sided plane or a single-sided polygon surface like this. And then you want to hit split unmask points, arrow down, and then it gives you a single-sided surface that is now the shape of that mouth that you drew, basically. Okay. No video games, just 3D art like small motions or static renders. Yeah, you can do it for that. It's if you're going to be moving it, then you would probably want to. But if you're going to be doing 3D printing, then you want to sculpt the details in the surface so it will get printed. Because Substance likes to make normal maps, like fake some surface stuff, because you're gonna bake the maps, but you'll get higher fidelity in your textures. Yeah, so it depends on what you want to do. If you're gonna 3D print it, then put the details in the sculpt. Okay. Good questions though. Thank you. Okay, so for this now, you can go to your Z modeler brush and we can extrude this by hand. Well, or we can do it dynamically. So let's do it dynamically just so you can see what that looks like. I'm going to actually pull this out forward away from the pumpkin like this. So then we can give it thickness and push it into the surface. Okay, and since it's all like jiggity jaggedy and sharp edges everywhere, if I turn on dynamic subdivisions, it's going to make it smooth. It's going to smooth everything out. And we don't want that. So we can go through and basically crease everything. So if you do, just do creases, like crease all. Yeah, that doesn't really do it either. So we're going to have to extrude it. I'm really hoping that one day they'll add creasing vertices that will crease along the vertical instead of along the edges. That would solve so many issues just like this. This is a perfect use case for that. But instead, so we can't do it destructive or non-destructively. We're going to have to do it destructively by pushing this into the surface with an extrude. So we're going to grab the Z modeler brush and then hold down the spacebar on a face, hit extrude, and then hit polygroup all like this. And then we're going to grab a face and just push it down into the center. Now what that's going to do, you can see it's going to have flipped normals because I pushed in instead of pulling out. To fix that, if you are using my user interface, I have flip right there. And you just hit flip and you can see the faces again. And now what we can do, this is a super fun, tricky thing. is it looks like this right now. So we can hit this. This is my custom menu, by the way, and I have all my most used items in here. I also have them separated out by where they're at in the tool menu. These are all things that exist over here in this tool menu, but this tool menu can get so long that you're just scrolling for days. So I've compressed everything down into this very short menu of things that I use all the time. One of those being this crease polygroups right here, and the groups by normals. So groups by normals, if I hit that, what that does is it'll make a new polygroup out of anything that's past 45 degrees. Okay, so you can see on all these different faces, it's made a new polygroup, right? So, and it doesn't get very pretty back here. We might have to do some manual adjusting, but for the most part, it's creased everything. And now when I hit dynamic, you can see it's still kind of soft. So we're going to go and hit crease polygroups. And now that's going to put a crease in between each of the polygroups. Sometimes it gets a little pinchy, like down in here, and we'll have to get that out. But all we care about, we don't care about this farthest out surface. We just care about the extrusion through the pumpkin. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this mouth up here. I'm going to drag it down in the list and turn it to subtractive and turn on live Boolean and turn off this. And there you go. There's our thing. But you can see that it's got some issues down in here where they crossed. So we're just going to have to go in there and manually like unravel some of those extrusions that kind of crossed. Okay. So, all right, Neil, thanks. Give it a save. Save it. Here, I can actually hit this button right here. Save next. There we go. Okay, so now what we can do is we can just hit solo and we can look at this by itself and we can see, I'm going to turn off dynamic, and we can see where it kind of unraveled or crisscrossed or made some weird issues. We'll just bring our move brush down tighter, and we'll just kind of go through here and make some adjustments and just kind of make it look like it went down along that angle better. For the pinchy spot, I found that the smooth group brush you can find in Lightbox helps. Ooh, okay. Maybe I'll learn something today. Let's go Lightbox, smooth brushes. Okay, where are you, smooth? There we go. What's it called? Smooth group? Smooth group. This one right here, smooth groups. Sorry, I'm stepping away from the microphone to breathe. Anybody get that reference? Okay, so maybe turn it way down. Ooh, look at that. Okay, just give it a little rub. Like this space, probably right here, huh? Yeah, okay. Just kind of loosening it up. Yeah, let's go back to move. What's going on? Move. Oh, I gotta crank move up. There it goes. Oh, it gave this one a group and creased it as Y. I use it mainly for when I extract a mesh from mask and you have a wiggly border. Oh, got you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see. I actually don't use mask extract too often because of that reason, because it gives me such a choppy, messy border. But if I can use something like that, maybe it'll save the day. Thanks for that. Yeah, there's so very few points that it sometimes it's probably better to do it manually. And I don't really care about the flow of this too much. I just care about the direction that it's going into the pumpkin face, you know. Okay, that should be better. Let's look at this up here. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, let's take a look at it and see how it fared. I'm going to turn dynamic back on, turn solo off, turn my wireframe off. So now it's not deep enough. Okay, so we're going to push it into the head. Well, let's scale it actually. Scale it. Oh, too much. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have to do something else. Let's go solo this. And I'm just going to mask off that back edge and pull it into the face more. I don't want to extrude it anymore. I just want to move it. So let's grab mask lasso and just go along this edge here. And then I'm going to add Alt so it unmasks that side. So you can see, let's center this, and I want to kind of scale it out a little bit. Because as the extrusion happened, it kind of got pinched in there. And again, I can turn off solo. We can actually see the fix working. So right here, you push it back into the head more. Man, that must be hitting the bordered edge. Maybe I will sneak it in a little bit. There we go. That's good. Okay. I'm happy with that. I do want to be able to stick a T-light in this thing and 3D print it out. So either I make it big enough that I can put a T-light through this eye hole, or I make a cap or make the stem removable and make it so I can put it down in there. Okay, let's show the legs again and see how we fared with okay. Let's move. This is the beauty of live Boolean is I can take this mouth and I can move it vertically live, get it closer to, whoops, it's masked. I got to clear that mask. Okay. Up and forward. Beautimous. Oh, that's fun. Okay. So I don't want to get it too close. I don't want to make it flimsy. And now, like I said, what we can do is select the pumpkin itself. Let's do a save. And then we can build up the smileys. Build up the smileys. All right. So we can get inflate. And then we can inflate it right around the cheekies. Right there. And what's fun here, let's move those, let's hide those legs again. See how it's starting to kind of cut into here like this? We can grab the detail brush and we can just cut right through. Oh, come on, aim it right. Let me turn off live Boolean. It's messing with it too much, I think. Let's turn off this mouth. I just want to do a crease like this. Got to exaggerate the smileys for the kids. Yeah, I wanted to do a nice cut in there. Okay, let's see where the other side is. That should work pretty good. And then we'll build up the inflate. There's a lot of people watching today. Thanks for hanging out on this wonderful Halloween Eve today. I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. Let me know if you have any questions. There we go. And I'll probably have to adjust this, but let's turn on live Boolean and see how we fared. All right, so we're going to have to move this. It's a little too low. That's the beauty of it. Look at that. Just settle it right up in there. Probably going to have to run like a dynamic something or other on it. Dynamesh. Oops. Look at that cute smiley guy. All right. Let's do legs. Okay, we're gonna do a detail pass. We'll detail it out. Make all the little swirly gigs, and I don't know if I'm gonna add this little spilled puke or anything. I think he's cute as he is. Got you on the TV in my studio. Nice. Look, Mom, I'm on TV. Okay. Trying to decide if I want to do. Let's crank this up. Shane in 4K. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Okay, let's turn off live Boolean just for a minute. Turn on Sculptress Pro. And then I want to fill this with Sculptress geometry. That's a little too heavy. Back it off a little bit. There we go. I just want enough geometry in here so I can carve some details, like these swirly details. I think I'm going to do it symmetrically just because I'm lazy, I guess. Here, let's do it with this foot. I want to add a little bit more weight to it. Just kind of tilt it down. Why is it being so... Oh, dynamic is on, that's why. When in doubt, if something's going on, look and see if your dynamic is on. Tilt these more this way. Oh, that's fun. All right, like a little kid, you know, like like when toddlers sit and their feet are like, meh. Pretty funny. Okay, let's do detail. In your course, do you cover prepping a model for printing? Yes, absolutely. So, thanks for asking. Let me just show you really quickly. I did a fan art of Lion-O, but you can do it with any character. It just happens to be Lion-O that I did it with. Let's see here. So this is my school. Ignore these three down here, just these. This is coming soon. This is going to be this is what the classroom, the course area looks like on my school. But if you go into here, you can see that I take you through sculpting Lion-O from start to finish. That means anatomy, that means armor, clothing, hair, coloring, making this sword as a prop. Everything is in here, right? So here's hair, showing you how to put in all this hair stuff. But it starts, and I show you how to pose it. I show you how to pose it twice. One that's kind of a neutral, just standing there pose, and another one that's more dynamic, and I show you how to build his claw and everything. But this is how to slice it for a printer. So you can, I show you how to do all the live Boolean stuff and slice it, getting it all ready, put the keys in there. And the videos are pretty big and they're nice. Let me show you. So if you go full screen mode, how's it look on the 4K thing? But here's the standard pose. And I show you how to make two different bases, one with this logo like his belt. And then, yeah, this is kind of working through how to slice and key it, and how to key it out of the body, because that's a separate piece. And then how to put all the keys in there. There he is with no hair. It's pretty funny. But there's about 28 hours of training in here, I want to say. Then here's posing, the second part, how to put all the keys in there. This is how to key I show you how to key twice. So repetition is gold, right? How to do keying for the dynamic pose right there. So looking good in 4K on a 55. Nice. Nice, nice. And then there's training, there's more training coming, but this one is this is Wexter. He's in there as well, and he did this awesome training on how to print it on a FDM printer, so like an extrusion printer with a filament, and he shows you how to set it all up for Bamboo Labs printer, but you can essentially use it for any FDM printer. So resin printing and slicing and prepping is coming as well. So that's coming very soon. And now's the best time to get in because of the current price. So eventually when I get a lot more students, then the price is going to go up. So get in there now while the price is good. Okay, back to it. Thanks for the question, though. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay, so detail brush. I'm going to do it on this foot. And then there's a community. I go live in there every week. So if you have any questions, you can come and ask me. Then there's other people in there too that know a lot about what's going on and can answer your questions. All right. I don't know if that's tight enough. Yeah, it's a subscription. Yep. But I might make it just for single sale. So you just buy the course and not a subscription. But a subscription was the best because that's kind of the only way I could do ongoing Q&A calls and stuff. And you know, we're going to start doing monthly challenges and all sorts of things that goes along with it, so you can post your work and get feedback and that kind of stuff. And that's typically stuff you don't get with a course unless it's like a 12-week program or something. Then you buy it and it's gone. So I like this model better because I can set the price a lot cheaper than I would sell it for. Monthly, that is. So yeah, I like how that works out. Okay. And if you get it for a year, then it doesn't feel like a subscription and you get two months off. Okay, wow, it keeps hopping. Come on. Don't hop. Let's go kind of squarish. Yeah, that's fun. Hey, Corbel Borp, how's it going? I just love to say that name. How's it going? All right. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and cut this pumpkin head, do the live Boolean, like run the Boolean on it, so then I can do some more sculpting on it. So basically it's a commitment. I'm going to commit. So let's turn on live Boolean for it. And then we're going to run the Boolean with sub Ds, and it will calculate it and spit out a part. Boonk. There's the part right there. And it looked like it spit it out with the legs attached. That's not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to delete that, and then I'm going to hide the legs and the stem. I just want to basically do the body. Okay, so let's delete this part. Okay, and then let's show this, hide the legs, hide the arms, hide the stem. Yeah, I just want this piece. And then I want to make sure that looks very goofy with the Boolean objects. Yep. It does. Okay, I want to see how these are cutting through the eyes. I need to go back and pull them down. Masked? No. Come on down. Maybe it won't work with live Boolean turned on. Let's just solo it. There we go. It didn't want to grab them with the live Boolean happening. I just want to pull these out away from the eye holes. There's such an eye hole. Okay. Live Boolean. There we go. That's better. Okay, so now if I go to gear, I go to Boolean with subdiv, should cook me out a part. Okay. There it is. Okay, and those, so I'm also playing around with a in the school. They just added tiered pricing, and there's a free tier, and in the free tier, it's just going to be, if I do it, I don't know if I'm going to yet, because I need, right now the free tier is combined with the paid tier, and I don't, it would just be a big clustered mess. So I'm waiting for them to be able to split those two away from each other. Because I don't, yeah, like I said, I just don't want it to become a mess that way. Oh gosh, hold on a second. It's kind of made a mess. So if you've joined the, if you've asked to join the free section, it might be a minute before I accept everybody. And I might not have a free tier based off of that. So we'll see if it works. Because before I just had one, and it was just a monthly price just for that one thing. So and the courses are not on the free tier, but my free brushes are. So that's essentially, yeah, if that makes sense. I'm still working that out. Okay, but see how it kind of got all the poly paint got messed up. So I need to do it one more time with everything already subdivided without dynamic subdivisions, just so it'll add more polygons to take on the paint, essentially. So I'm going to delete this again and do it one more time. Excuse me. Okay, let's see. Let's turn on this. And then we got the eyes, the mouth. I'm going to apply the dynamic subdivisions here. Looks like I already might have with the eyes, but I want to subdivide them even more. That's right, because I Boolean them. So let me see here. I don't want to subdivide it with these triangles in there. So I'm going to run a group by normals, and then the ZBrush, I'm going to save this in case it dies. Okay. I'm going to do a keep groups, turn smoothing groups all the way down to 0, and then ZBrush this, and hopefully, yeah, I don't really care what it looks like in the front and the back. I just care about what it looks like on the sides, and then subdivide that down a lot. So we're at, yeah, okay. And then fill it with yellow. That's much cleaner and much more dense. So that will work better. And then we'll do the same thing with the mouth. I'm going to actually add subdivision levels. Let's see, let me turn on dynamic and then apply, and then subdivide it more. I'm going to go up to about 1 million is what I'm looking for. That's good. Okay, so that's way cleaner. And now when I do this Boolean, I don't need to do dynamic subdivisions because I actually added real subdivisions. So I'm just going to say Boolean folder, which I think is a little quicker. Okay. Let's, yeah, see that's much better. It's not all the bad paint on the edges. It's pretty dense like this, but it's good. And I could decimate that and 3D print it out pretty easily. Okay, so now let's add some details to the stem, and I can hide the interior body and the main body. I just want the stems and the legs and arms. Okay, stem, and then hide the Boolean parts. Oh, it looks like I still need to have this one turned on. I'm going to move this up in space. Okay. That should be getting cut, but I think it's hanging down into the eyeballs section. So it's that's why you can still see it. So I'm going to pull it back. There we go. Okay, now let's add some details to it. And I like to use this carve brush. And I like to use it with Sculptress. So I'm going to turn off live Boolean. And then just kind of give it some, carve out some things like this. Let's make it a little bigger. I don't want to make it too big because I don't want to accidentally carve into the back side of the stem. Something like this. And then I can also hold down Alt and pull it. It's almost like hair. And then smooth it down. This is when it typically crashes ZBrush. I hope it doesn't. I'm going to go bigger. There we go. Then pull this up and out. Smoothing it down. Come on, smooth stronger already. Yeah. Okay. Let's go from here. I don't want to pull it too heavy out. And then get a big brush and just kind of smooth it down. I don't want it to be that. I just want it to be subtle. What's that carve brush? That's my carve brush. It's kind of based off an orb crack brush. But I give it away in my at my Sculpt school. Well, you can get it at 3dcharacterworkshop.com as well. You can get it there for free. But if you sign up for my Sculpt school, the latest version is in there. It has this key brush. Yeah. I like it a lot, especially for hair and stuff like this. It's perfect. There we go. I can go smaller and just do a little bit of details. And just kind of smooth it down a little bit. Just give it that viney pumpkin look, you know? Don't want to keep it too crisp, you know? Just a little bit to break up that surface. Okay, and then let's get some little lumpy warts on him. I kind of want to carve in a thing here. Let me turn off Sculptress. I think I have plenty of geometry to work with. Time we got, we're about done here. Then let's give him a little nose. Something like that. And then he's got this kind of a, see, the highlights are these little round things. So I'll probably, after this, I'll probably go find an alpha that's made of those little dots and kind of flood fill this like a tri-fill or something. And I can get this inflate, and we'll just give him some warts like this. Funlittlewarts.com. Just make them kind of lumpy. We'll bring this up a little bit more. I want to probably tuck this smile line in more. That's too fine of an edge. Turn off RGB. I don't want to soften the color, just the sculpt here. Man, that's kind of warping it. Let's try the detail brush instead. There we go. That's what I wanted. That's all I wanted. And then I wonder if I can inflate it shut. No, not really. Kind of is what it is. All right. And then I'll have to come back here with these arms and detail them out, probably with the carve brush again and the legs to give it this same like viney look, you know? They're a little low, so let's do, that's why, let's crank this down a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. Again, if you want, I'm gonna be streaming more over on my channel, probably maybe tomorrow and next week. My channel is 3D Character Workshop on YouTube. I think is that down in the links, Neil, here on YouTube? I don't know. I know it's not on Twitch. Don't want to take you away from this project, but is there a key to hold or something to press to have an already drawn out curve connect back on itself? Yes, you can do it. There's a way to control it with using, go to stroke, go to curve, let's see, let me find it, curve functions. And then you want to, oh, thanks, Neil. Then you want to use frame mesh, and frame mesh will generate a curve. And if you have something around an object, like either a border, like an open border, or polygroups, like between polygroups, or on creased edges. So I can show you really quickly. So if I go to, let's append a star, and then we'll go grab that star and replace it. Let's say I drew one out and then I want to connect it. Yeah, not really. This is, if you want total control, use objects to do that with. But just drawing it in space, it's too squirrely to do that with. So if you want total control, you got to do it this way. Like when I did yep, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I did a really technical insert multi-mesh brush for a baseball once. And I had to make the stitches repeat along a line, and I had to make that line follow the pattern of a baseball, which is like two pieces of leather like stuck together like this. And I had to make it follow that stitching. And that's how I did it, was with polygroups, and I made that pattern out of polygroups. And then I had the stitch follow the curve, and it worked really well. So that's how you get total control, total power. But just so other people know what I'm talking about, I'll just do a quick demo. here's a cylinder here. And if I look at it, it doesn't have any polygroups, just one polygroup. And if I do a group by normals, it's going to make new polygroups like this. And it also has creased edges. And you can basically go to, here I'll subdivide it a couple times and then delete those subdivision levels. Delete lower. Okay, we got it looking like this. And now here, just for fun, I'll use a slice curve and go like this and like this. And that'll give it me this kind of whoop-de-doo polygroup, right? Here, and then what we'll do is we can, I just want two polygroups. So I just want one curve in the middle, okay? So I'll group this, and then I'll group this. I'm just hitting Control W to put whatever's visible in its own group. So now there's just two polygroups in the middle of this kind of curvy thing. And now I can just go to stroke, and then frame mesh. I just want to do polygroups. So I'll turn the other two off, hit frame mesh, and it gives me a curve. And now I can go get a curve brush. Like, let's see, I think there's like a belt in here. Wish the curves could also have some vector points like in other programs. Absolutely, it would be amazing. I love drawing them out, but refining them. Yeah, it feels like you're dragging a snake around, right? Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice. Maybe someday. There's got to be a belt or something. Oh, it's always fun to put a zipper on there. Let's look at a zipper. So I think if you do BI, these are IMM brushes, and here's zippers. You can grab this zipper, and let's do this one. So you just pick one, and then you click the curve, and then it'll put that zipper along the curve. You can kind of see it follow it, but then you can just make it a smaller size, and then click the curve again, and it'll follow like this. See that? Zipper. And then, but yeah, it's connected now in the middle. You can kind of drive it along there, but it's really difficult to manipulate after that. So you want to go in there and just control it with polygroups, essentially. That's how I do it. As you can see, you can have a lot of control just with polygroups and then making it a curve. Anyway, hope that helps. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up. So here's my pumpkin dude. Pumpkin feller. And I'll probably do a little bit more to him, but yeah, for now, there he is, little pumpkin man. So thank you to Greg and LostBear Studios for making this amazing concept. Greg's amazing. Thank you all for watching today. And as usual, if you're interested in hanging out with more people like myself and wanting to learn this stuff, come check out Sculpt School. It's skool.com/sculpt, which is SKULPT. There's a link for you. Thanks, Neil. All right, you guys, have a wonderful week, and I'll either see you on my channel. Like I said, we're doing a stream tomorrow. A bunch of us streamers on right here on this channel. A whole bunch of us. We're just doing some Halloween sculpts for fun. So yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you there. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, happy sculpting, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.